Was the MLA for Drumheller, Three Hills, and he was an MLA as well, almost about the same term, 2012 to 2019. Mr. Rick Strankman, as he tells me, call me Stranks. Thank you, sir. And we talked about the law, let's talk about law enforcement. The next gentleman was a police officer for 23 years with Calgary Police, and then served for 15 years as an MP. Originally started with the Reform Party, and please welcome Mr. Art Hanger. This is a powerhouse panel. I'm excited about this. Alrighty, so I have a number of questions here. I'm going to start with Mr. Barnes. Drew, the Premier and the UCP Board have repeatedly stated that they have not had sufficient time to enact legislation on parental rights, trans issues, or the Alberta Bill of Rights. However, groups like the 1905 Committee argue that this delay reflects a lack of political will rather than process limitations. Given that the Sovereignty Within Canada Act was passed within months, how much truth is there to this claim? And I've got 3 follow-up questions. What are the steps involved in creating legislation? How quickly can the legislation be enacted? And what factors are essential for accelerating the legislative process?
Jared, thank you for that question, and thanks to everybody for being here. I'm very, very grateful to have represented Cypress Medicine Hat for 11 years and to be one of the paid people that was your voice in the legislature. Now, I'm so glad, especially tonight here, to see so many conservatives, constitutional conservatives, family conservatives, Alberta First conservatives, smaller government conservatives. But you know what I don't see here tonight? Is what when I read the Globe and Mail last night, what they told me I would see here. Right-wing fringe. Chronic complainers, and forever in opposition. I am so pleased that you people are here to spend your time, your ideas, and your talent to make Alberta better for each and every one of us. Thank you very, very much. Sarah, please. That is she's absolutely wrong on that. First of all, politically, the conventional wisdom is you do your heavy lifting in the first year. Stuff that maybe need to be explained later, flushed out with some regulation changes, have your MLAs go out and make things happen. She's fearful and she's not going to do these things. Secondly, all as it takes, let's be clear, 4 steps to a bill. First reading, which is automatic to get it on the floor generally. Second reading, which is about the intent. Committee of the whole, where you make all the amendments and the changes. And then the third and final reading. Okay, all as you need by law is a 24-hour break on either side of committee of the whole. You can even get around that if you can get unanimous appeal in the legislature. Now, with opposition, that might be hard, but it's 24 hours. So every bit of this legislation could have been prepared and done and implemented already. So Premier Smith, you know, you were elected. You were elected to bring a smaller government, lower taxes, choice in our healthcare and our education. You were especially elected to stand up to fight for us for a fairer deal from Ottawa. It is past time to get going.
Thank you very much. Follow-up question to that. How many taxes have been reduced, Mr. Burns, so far?
Zero taxes have been reduced. You know, it's saddening for me that I was elected in 2012 on the idea of smaller government, lower taxes, families first, bigger families, decentralization, bigger communities. Rachel Notley and Justin Trudeau raised our taxes in 2015, making Alberta one of the least competitive tax environments in all of North America now. 2 years of Danielle Smith, 4 years of Jason Kenney, 6 years of a UCP government, and here we spend our time raising land title rates, raising fees, everything but reducing taxes and reducing spending. And it's a bigger problem when it comes back to COVID, the COVID response, and I'll get there as well. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you, Drew. I apologize, Mr. Strankman. I relied on my memory rather than on my notes. I got the name of the riding wrong. I said Drumheller Three Hills, it's Drumheller Stettler, so my apologies. Rick, in your opinion, how has the current UCP government, under Premier Danielle Smith, differed from the previous administration led by Jason Kenney? Do you believe the UCP is moving in the right direction under its current leadership, or does it need to refocus its priorities? If so, in what ways?
Well, I'd like to add to what Drew talked about, the government and costs and stuff. Drew is well more familiar with the actual numbers, but I'll just say that the provincial debt is at historic levels. Drew can give you the exact numbers. It's north of 100 billion, probably 120 billion. And that's even higher than in adjusted dollars to what Ralph Klein was elected to fight. In many ways, a lot of people in the legislature or the associated areas there want to preach or aspire to be like Mr. Klein in slaying the debt or feeling that they have lifetime jobs in the elected positions, but it's not to be. And ultimately, Albertans, you are the ones that have to pay those bills. And that's one of the things that I think they're falling down on. They're trying to patronize or pander to a lot of organizations that really Albertans themselves should be able to look after.
Awesome, thank you. And Drew, you had mentioned you people come out here. I thought we can't say that anymore. I thought that gets you canceled. Only kidding. All right. We put this question to the legal panel, but based on your experience within government, the Premier has often said, again, her wings are clipped. How would you respond to that? What entity or institution holds more power than the Premier, the highest elected representative in the province?
Well, that's a question really that I had to say that was first and foremost on my mind when I ran back in 1993 for the Reform Party. What am I running for, and what is my authority? And I realized that after I was nominated and elected, that there was a set of policies that we had developed here in Alberta that spelled out clearly what the people of Alberta wanted us to deliver to Ottawa. Now, I know this is Ottawa I'm talking to, and it's not the province, and it's not directly related to the question you asked me, but I'm going to say this. Because our policies were so common sense, I didn't think they could pack much punch when we got to Ottawa. But as it turned out, they were extremely controversial. I don't care which one you looked at, whether it's immigration or whether it's lowering taxes or smaller government, very key fundamental conservative values. LGBTQ was a huge issue, and those were matters that came out of the hearts and minds of people here in Alberta. Now, I end up in Ottawa, and nobody tells you how to be an MP in a way, but if you're committed to a process to make a difference and to determine what's wrong, if there is something wrong, ferret out what is wrong and correct it. And I soon found out that this authority that I was given when I was sworn into office was exactly what was the problem with my approach to matters in Ottawa. In other words, I'm given authority as one of the individuals that is in a position, very unique position in the country, that allows me to go to places and ask questions and dig around to find out what other problems there are. I'm given that authority when I swear to that office in reference to those people that put me there. Now, I soon found out that that was controversial in itself. They didn't want me to go around and dig into the back rooms or to find out what is wrong, or to stand up for a principle that was important to the people here. But the authority is given, and that goes back to the Premier. She has got the top authority granted to her in this province. Top. There is nothing higher. She has got it. And in my way of thinking, if you have that authority, then use it for the benefit of those that are seeking to give you that position. She has not done that. I do not understand if she was to take that, even in spite of the opposition within. I don't care if it's the bureaucrats or if it's the internal workings of the caucus or whoever it is, or AHS, if you want to call it that, as an entity of our province. I've never voted for having some corporation run my life, but they do. And if that is the case, why doesn't she stand up and say, look, here is my problem to the people of Alberta. To the people of Alberta, here is the problem. We've got an internal issue here that needs your support. And I would have to suggest that there would be a rallying cry for many, many Albertans that would get her over that bump. But you have to have the will to do it. You have to have the will. If she doesn't have the will, or if she doesn't have the moral motivation, then it's not going to get done. And so you have to put pressure on it. So that's my position. As I see it, from my position here is a former MP and now a citizen of this province still.
Thank you, Mr. Anger. I like this next question because it's wide open. And there's three very patriotic Albertans here, but there's a room full of patriotic Albertans. And in a few days here, a couple of miles from here, we're going to see a big movement of political engagement. So 5,600 registrations, the biggest AGM in political history in Canada. And that goes to show kind of how engaged we are as Albertans. I love that. So the AGM's coming up. What three specific actions, I'll start with you, Mr. Burns. What three specific actions would you like to see the Danielle Smith government take immediately, with timelines, to create a stronger and freer Alberta?
Tarek, only three is very unfair, but I'm going to try. Easy first step. Number one, we collect our own taxes starting right away. One of the things you may remember during the COVID outbreak was Premier Kenney at the time saying to the media, because as Rick Strankman had just pointed out, we'd run $120 billion into debt, and the way the economy was shut down, that if we didn't follow Ottawa, they wouldn't buy our bonds. Friends, here we are with the third biggest oil reserve in the world, the ability to produce agriculture like nobody can, and we're letting the Laurentian elite tell us how to protect our families and our kids. Number one thing, we collect our own taxes. We will make money collecting it because of the interest and penalties charged, and we will control our own future. Number two, a written Alberta Constitution. Okay, absolutely, we have to put the rules down that next time something like COVID happens, or if the government wants to create a program that's outside their mandate of health and education, they need free votes in the legislature where all MLAs actually stand up and are accounted for. And those MLAs will be subject to recall and more direct democracy, and those two things. And the third thing, Jason Kenney asked me to be on the Fair Deal panel, a panel that I believed the report was never meant to do anything other than a release valve. I put out a dissenting report. I said 2 years from the day that this report is released, we need an independence referendum in Alberta. So much is broken in our relationship with Ottawa. Where do we start? So I said, let's put Ottawa on notice. They've got 2 years to fix everything they can. And 2 years from now, Albertans will hold them accountable to whether or not they've gone far enough. Yeah, part of that is what a lot of people don't even realize. Prince Edward Island and Maritimes are guaranteed so many House of Commons seats because they're guaranteed so many Senate seats. It gives them way more power. A vote in Prince Edward Island is worth like 4 times a vote in Alberta. But maybe worse, 9 Supreme Court judges. Because of our Constitution, Quebec's guaranteed 3, Ontario's guaranteed 3, Maritimes are guaranteed 1, BC's guaranteed 1. Alberta, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan split the last 9th one on a rotating basis. Friends, this is so time to change this, or our values will never get to where they need to be. Those are the 3 things: collect our own taxes, our own constitution, and an independence referendum.
Sir, I'm going to ask you that exact question. So, yeah, you betcha.
I'd just like to add to Finance Minister Barnes here. It was staggering for me to hear, or the previous ladies here, lawyers, talk about, I'm going to say the word anarchy in your legal system. It's anarchy if they're not following their own rules. That's exactly what that is. You've lost the law. And to Roger's comment there about under God and the rule of law. Under God, if you follow the American Declaration of Independence, it talks about the rights of the person. Those rights are not for negotiation by 2 lawyers. Even if it is these 2 ladies over here. Those rights are inherent to that person. And that, sir, if I could say, Roger, is why you're here. You should have went to the U.S., but you made a good second choice. And that's what, if Albertans would take that thing, following Mr. Barnes' recommendation for this declaration, based off God and the rights of Albertans. I changed my swearing in, my very first swearing in at the legislature. They want you to swear allegiance to the Queen at the time, and to the legislature, and to the constituents. And I added, and the young guy that was coaching me on this says, "Oh, Strengths, you can't do that." I said, "I've been kicked out of worse places than this, and if I do, what are they going to do?" But I added, and indeed, all Albertans.
I love it.
And that's what I'm looking at over here, is all Albertans. You need to stand up for your rights, and when you see your MP or your MLA in the grocery store or at wherever, tell them your opinion. And if they don't take it back to the nut house there in Edmonton, then you need to tell them it again.
I love it. Strengths, I'm going to ask you the same question then. 3 things you'd like to see Premier Smith do this week.
Well, I've expended myself here. I guess I'll say, I think the debt is important. I mean, it's long-term, and it gave Mr. Klein in the day a goal. Like, what are you seeing as a goal for this government? Like, I don't see any one single goal. It's pandering to this, or they're pandering to some sort of a drug rehab center somewhere else. I mean, those are not unneeded. That's for sure, they're needed. But what's the flavor of the day? Pick a goal, pick a place. It may not be popular. Ralph wasn't popular in the day either. But we loved the guy because he went to a flag, or he went to the true north, and let's do that.
Thank you very much. And then finally, Mr. Hanger. I'll go from this week to this month. What 3 specific actions would you like to see the Danielle Smith government take immediately to create a stronger, freer Alberta?
She should begin, first of all, by declaring to the people in Alberta that the burdens that were laid down on the backs of the taxpayer here are going to be lifted. We're going to cut the size of government down to a point where it's just looking after the very basic needs that Albertans have, and get away from interfering with the economic, just lay the economic bed down for them to do and produce things as they should. Albertans are smart people. They can do things quite well, and we excel in everything we do. Get out of our schools. Get out of our, with this LGBTQ garbage and the
Yes.
DEI. These are things that she can do. There's nothing stopping her from doing it, apart from the fact that she may not have the will, or she fears what might come back against her from certain special interest groups. Special interest groups are always, for the most part, funded by the government themselves, or big union.
What about justice?
And that has got to stop. And with a leadership in the government, with the premier and on downward in the cabinet and so on, these things can be cleaned up. All you have to have is the will to do it. And the third thing, our bread and butter has come from the energy industry in this province that has fed our families, that has brought about innovation, that has made us a world-class oil industry, energy industry, recognized all over the world. Get the heck out of that industry and allow our people to do what they do best. And I think that can happen. There's no reason why we have to go into this carbon capture nonsense. It's a lie.
Damn right.
Transgender, more than one gender is a lie. It is a man and a woman only. Under God. God created us that way. I believe it. I truly believe that. There's no other third gender or fourth or 65 other genders. Whatever the number is now, I think it's in the hundreds. But this is just nonsense. It's nonsense, and it's distracting, and it's hurting our people. I think that she could take these initiatives, and if she's determined, she will have the support of these people here. I know, not just in this room, but I believe it with my heart. So I would urge her, I would pray that she does this, to stand up for the truth. Don't go out and lying to the people, but tell them the truth. And the truth actually will gain her more support than any one thing else that she could ever do.
Thank you, Mr. Hanger. And finally, closing remarks, Mr. Barnes.
First of all, special thanks to you, Tarek, for your good work tonight in moderating it. Special thanks to everybody that's here with their ideas and their time and their treasure. Take Back Alberta and the 1905 Committee and all those others. Thanks so much for pushing so hard to keep our grassroots initiatives and our true conservative values alive. Tarek, I'm sorry, I said I was going to have trouble keeping it to just 3, but I got 3 more.
Go for it.
We have got to decentralize healthcare again. We have got to end this big monopoly. Yeah. I'm an elected representative sending letters to the College of Physicians and Surgeons and Health Canada and Alberta Health Services about COVID, explain the restrictions, explain why these tests are so faulty, why we can't use the chemicals that the 2 great doctors talked about. I got 0 responses to my letters. I represented 45,000 people and I got 0 responses. Wow. I believe if I could have walked into the Medicine Hat Hospital in the days when we had a CEO, when we had good people, I could have got better understanding. At the very least, I could have helped my citizens understand a little bit better about what was going on. At the same time we decentralize healthcare, we create a new college board. You don't have to join the College of Physicians and Surgeons. You can join a parallel board. You can start, let's make something so we're conservatives. Smaller government, lower taxes, and choice. Let's make it happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our legislative panel, Mr. Hanger, Mr. Strankman, and Mr. Barnes.